Right now, there is not a single AI video generator that is better than Sora 2. This is OpenAI's leading model, and it can generate hyper-realistic results just like what you're seeing here. And even though the internet is packed with amazing Sora 2 examples, most people still aren't using it to its full potential. People get access to one of the most powerful AI tools out there, and then hardly use any of what it can do. That's why I've been collecting every insider secret for Sora since the day it launched, so you can get the best results possible. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to really master Sora 2, and I'll also show you the one tool that can give you a huge advantage. In this video, I'll break down how to master Sora 2 step by step, and the one tool that can instantly put you ahead. Sora 2 makes both the video and the audio, so the visuals and the sound are created together and stay in sync. But the real power comes from how the model reads motion, lighting, and sound as one whole environment. So if a door slams in the background, the camera shake, echo, and lighting shift are all generated together. It doesn't feel composited or fake. It's also way more accurate, realistic, and controllable than the last version, or anything else out there. The physics engine behind Sora 2 has been fully trained on real-world footage, which means it understands depth, texture, and natural movement much better. When something moves in the frame, it now respects perspective, shadows, and reflections almost perfectly, especially in scenes with water, glass, or complex lighting. It also supports both text and image-to-video workflows, which gives you a ton of flexibility. You can write out a detailed prompt and let it build the whole scene, or you can drop in one still image and it'll generate motion that sticks to that same style and composition. Not only that, but it's also really good at understanding common trends, styles, and genres. So if you are after building something that looks like a get ready with me routine, you don't actually have to prompt the model to do things step by step. You can just ask Sora 2 to create a get ready with me routine and it will instantly understand it. And that applies to a lot of other examples. In just a couple of minutes, I'll show you exactly how to use those features to completely master Sora 2. In other words, if you're a business owner, a content creator, or just someone curious about AI video, you now have an incredible level of control over the final output. You're not endlessly prompting and hoping for a miracle. You're guiding a model that actually understands you and delivers. You get a level of realism that's basically unseen, and you can create all of that in seconds. So with all that being said, let's actually get into the step-by-step guide. The tool I'm using to access Sora 2 is called Artlist, and if you're wondering why I don't just go straight to Sora 2, it's because using Artlist gives me a lot more control and flexibility. It gives me access to Sora 2, but with a bunch of built-in tools that make everything easier and a lot more creative. For example, it lets me generate custom image frames that I can use as my starting point. So if I already have a scene composition or an idea I like, I can build my video around that without ever leaving the tool. And Artlist also has prompt assistance, which helps you write prompts the model actually understands. It also gives you access to multiple models, and it gets rid of all those annoying watermarks you'd usually see with something like Sora 2. So if you ever need to switch from Sora 2 to something that's better for other shots, you can do that instantly without changing platforms. So if you want to follow along on this tutorial, I'll leave a link to Artlist down below. When you first log into Artlist, you'll want to head over to the left-hand side and select AI video. For this tutorial, we're going to start with text to video, so just make sure that option is selected. Down in the bottom right corner, you can choose your model. I'm using Sora 2 Pro for this, but you can totally use Sora 2. It's a bit lower in quality and slightly less sharp, but still produces really solid results. Before we dive into these settings, take a look up top. That's where your prompt field is, and this is where most people hit their first problem. They don't really know how to prompt for Sora 2, and from what I've seen, people usually fall into two buckets. They either overcomplicate their prompts or don't describe enough, and both of those lead to worse results. So how do you actually write a good prompt for Sora 2? A solid Sora prompt always follows the same structure. Describe your scene first, then the cinematography, the mood, the actions, the dialogue, and at the end the sound. Let's go through each of those quickly. For your scene, you want to start with a short description of what's happening and who is in the shot. And then you move on to the cinematography, which is basically how it's being filmed. This is where you explain what the video should look like from the camera's point of view. After that, you want to add a short line describing the mood. This can be something simple. This helps Sora pick up on the vibe you're going for. Then you add the actions. This is where you describe what's actually happening in the clip. After the actions, you can add the dialogue. You can go specific with an exact line of dialogue, or just general, like talking to the camera about X. And finally, you have the sound. This is where you can include things like distant traffic, footsteps on concrete, soft wind, or crowd chatter. Keep in mind, this doesn't mean you have to write a paragraph for each of these. You can easily do this in just 3 or 4 sentences if you're clear about what you want. So going back to that analogy from earlier, if we've got two types of users, the ones who write too little and the ones who write way too much, you actually want to lean a little bit toward the simpler side. With that being said, let's go ahead and paste in our first prompt. For me, I'll use this prompt right here. After you paste in your prompt, you can jump over to the basic settings Artlist provides. These are all simple buttons: aspect ratio, length, and resolution. For the aspect ratio, I'm going with landscape because I want this to feel like a cinematic shot. Next is the length. One thing to know about Sora 2 is that it always follows the duration you pick. If you pick that length, that's what it's going to generate. So if you add dialogue or a call to action at the end, it can get cut off when the clip is too short. If timing matters, choose the longest duration so nothing important gets cut off. And finally, you've got resolution. If you can, choose 1080p. It's the best balance of quality and speed. Alright, with all that set up, let's hit generate and see what we get. And as you can see, everything here looks completely real. There's nothing I can call out as unrealistic. Everything from the two aliens running, to the people in the background, to the lighting on the wet street, it all looks incredibly natural. That's how good Sora 2 really is. But to get a little more tactical, let's now try using an actual product image and see how we can turn that into a full ad. I'm using a simple photo of a sleeping mask that I found online. Before you choose your own image, there's something important to keep in mind with Sora 2. You can't use images that have real people in them. So when you pick your product image, make sure it's an object. Accessories, tech, home items, just nothing with a human face. You might think that's going to ruin the result, but I promise you, that's not the case. In just a few minutes, you'll see how good it actually looks, even without using real people in the image. Now I'll upload my product image. The second thing I want to pick here is the genre of the video. For this example, I want the ad to feel like something you'd normally see on social media. Something real, like a story post or a TikTok. I'm doing a travel style video, and the sleeping mask is the product being promoted. Using that same structure: scene, cinematography, mood, actions, dialogue, and sound. Now I'll paste in my prompt and let's go ahead and generate it.
Honestly, this mask is my best travel hack. It feels so soft. I can actually sleep on planes now. I just pop it on and suddenly I'm out. It's like a tiny nap cocoon. Highly recommend. Game changer. Good night, world.
And as you can see, scene by scene, this looks exactly like a normal video that someone would film and post on their social media profile. I love how the girl in the video just looks like a regular Gen Z creator, casually vlogging her trip, and the motion and physics feels completely natural. But the most impressive part is how accurate the product looks. It's exactly like the original photo, and even though Sora can't actually see the backside of the sleeping mask, it still understands that the other side should be smooth. That's something that most other models completely fail at. They'll sometimes make these strange warped shapes or make the product look kind of melted from the back. But Sora 2 handles that perfectly, and honestly, an ad like this would have been almost impossible to make before. Even with a real person, you'd have to ship the product out, schedule a shoot, fly someone to a different location, plan the logistics, and all of that could easily take weeks. But with Sora 2, you can literally generate something like this in minutes. This ad shows how Sora 2 changed everything. Big studios, small creators, anyone can make high quality videos quickly now. For this next video, I really want to show you just how good Sora 2 is at creating something that looks like an actual movie. For this one, I'm going to make a short film that has that fine-tuned, super realistic, cinematic feel to it. The idea behind my little short film is simple: a person left completely alone on Earth. It's a great example of how Sora 2 can handle atmosphere, emotion, and realism all at once. For the prompt, I'm going with this one right here. I'm setting it in New York City again, mainly because it's such a huge busy place, and seeing it completely empty is gonna look super weird. Now I'm just going to paste my prompt into the text-to-video section. Thankfully, Artlist actually saves your previous settings, so if you've already used Sora 2 before, you don't need to reselect everything. Everything looks good, so let's click generate and see what we get. It looks incredible. The vibe, the color grading, the motion, the camera, everything about it feels like an actual movie. It honestly just looks very real. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is the audio. The audio in Sora 2 is exceptionally good. Usually when you use other AI video generators that also try to make sound, the audio ends up being weird or totally unrealistic, like muffled voices or random background noise that doesn't match what's happening on screen. But Sora 2 nails it. It produces sound that actually fits the scene, like footsteps that echo realistically, wind that matches the environment, environment and little ambient details that make it feel like a real recording. Now you know how to use Sora 2 like a damn pro. You've learned all the core things you need, how the tool works, and how to prompt it the right way to get those crazy realistic results. And just imagine how much you can do with that now. Because with Sora 2, you can take an idea and turn it into a full cinematic movie, an ad, or even a quick meme clip in minutes. You can build short films, create scroll-stopping social media ads, or even test out entire visual ideas before ever picking up a camera. But the most powerful thing you've learned in this video isn't just how to use Sora 2, it's where to use it. Because using Sora 2 inside Artlist gives you the ability to instantly level up your results. You get full access to the Sora 2 Pro model, a clean and easy interface, built-in prompt assistance, access to multiple AI tools, and all of that under a single subscription. If you want to get more out of Sora 2, just check out the Artlist link in the description down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.